Hello and welcome to the AFL Auto Blends 3D Car Creations channel. This is the third part in a series of modelling a Jowett Jupiter sports car from 1950 to 1954. Today I'm beginning to look at the blueprints. I will include the blueprints in the description, so that will help you all along. Anyway, let's get into it. So originally in the last part I'd set up the physical dimensions of the car, but bear in mind that the length is set to the wheelbase. Okay, so first off we'll go into the side image. And as I described to you in the last episode, I like the front of the vehicle facing the left hand side. So press Shift and A and get an image background. Okay, so you then negotiate to where you've got your reference images stored. So here, blueprints, I'm looking for side, in this instance it's side 2, so I upload that. So there it is. First off I will go into wireframe mode, so press the Z key, go into wireframe mode, and then it's a simple matter of clicking on the blueprint and moving it up. So we want the bottom of the tyres sitting on the y-axis. Okay. Now when you're moving this around, it slows it down, makes it more finite if you hold the Shift key down. So you do it in lesser increments. Okay. So you can get it there a bit more final. So we need to scale it down. So press the S key, scale, then scale inwards. Now what we're looking for is to get the wheel, the center of the wheels on these lines. Okay. So move it in. So we've got to scale it out. Keep scaling a wee bit more. Okay, so move it along, almost there. So scale. This can be quite finicky at the start to get it just right. So I'm happy-ish with that, so we'll leave it at that, but just reset the tyres on the front. So that's the side image done. Now at this stage I'd like to capture the whole dimensions of the vehicle, so we'll just click into the cube that we created. Okay, go into edit mode, so press tab key. Now the way I do it, I don't just scale it. What I do is just go press the B key, highlight, get all the vertices and move it out. Now what I'm going to do is just to the body, not to the bumpers, because the bumpers will be a little different on each car. So so again, move it to the back of the body, so around about there. So that's now the box. Don't went wrong there. I'll reset that. Okay, so that's the side image done. Now we don't want to move the side image anymore, so click into that there on the top right here, type side in. Now this little arrow key there, if you click it, you won't be able to select it. Okay, so move to the front image. So Shift A, in object mode. So Shift A in object mode, image, background. We're looking for front here, so front, and load into background. Okay, so we got the front. What I didn't say on the side was we want to show it in viewports and renders. So click onto that there. So click onto that icon there, which is the object data properties, and we want to view it in perspective as well. So click the perspective button. Okay, so we move back to the front and we grab hold of the front. Okay, now also it's very difficult, so click in perspective, click transparency, and let's get the opacity down to 0.5. Okay, so that makes it easier to view. So we scale it in now, so scale it all the way in, so it's roughly to the side there. Now I've had a quick look at this, and it's important to get that not exactly to the top, but let's just scale it in. Let's scale it in for now, see where we go. So scale it up to hopefully fit, and move it around. So try to get it equal all the way around. Set the tires on the axes and see where we are. Well, that's pretty good, but we know from the side it's not quite right. Okay, so scale it in again. Move it across. Scale it up a wee bit more. Now move it down and sit it on the axes. Okay, so that's where we are. The height, I think, is set by the soft top. So let's ignore that for this at this moment. Okay, so just call that the front. So front, and then we'll click into that so we don't select it. So now when you scroll and go into perspective mode, you can see your side view and your front view. Okay, now we'll go to the rear, so press Control and 1 on the keypad to go to rear view. Now this is our cube. Okay, this is our cube, so that's where we've got to get the image into. Okay, so Control A, image, background, choose back. So again, we scale it in, move it up. Okay, so we scale it again. So we need to get the width in. Now remember, this has got the soft top on, so it could put us off a little bit. Right, so just get it in roughly there. Again, set the perspective transparency, pull the opacity down to 0.5, just so you can look at it a bit better. Now the top is key, press 7 on the numpad. Now the top, I've had to, there wasn't a ready available blueprint for the top image. So what I've had to do is to reach out to a Facebook Jowett Jupiter owners car club, and somebody sent me a top view of a model car. There is a bit of perspective issue on it, but I'll tell you about that when we load it in. So Shift A, image, background, top. Where's the top? There's the top image there. Top image, and we'll load that in. So the first thing we do is we need to rotate it. So we need the front of the vehicle facing down. So the first thing we need to do is rotate it -90. So press R, -90. Sorry, it should be +0. So rotate 90. Okay. So again, we go click the perspective button, click transparency, click opacity, and take that down to 0.5. You might need that a bit lower because it's so vibrant, so go 0.3. Okay. Right, so we just scale that image now to fit into the box. Let's go. Let's move it in. Again, hold the Shift key because it helps you to do finite measurements. Okay, so now we've got, in essence, we've got, so that one is the top. So just change that to read top. And obviously that one is the back. Let's just check. Okay, so let's see. Make sure that we've, yeah, that's the back. So if you look in perspective mode, you can scroll around and you can see all angles of the vehicle. Okay, so on your numpads, press 1 for the front view, press 3 for the side view, press Control and 1 for the rear view, and press 7 for the top view. Now, that said, we'll save that as it is. I'd created this before just as a test, so I'll just close this one down and open that because it'll help you to see what I've done. So if we open the last one I've done, which is that. Okay, so what we've done is in object mode, choose the cube. You'll see what I've done. So what I've done in object, in edit mode, I've added a series of loop cuts at key points. Now this isn't anything to do with the modeling. This is just to do with making sure that your references on the front, the rear, the side and the top are as consistent as they can be. So I've set a line, so I've Control R in that box. If you want to put a loop cut in, just press Control R and it clicks it there. Okay, so we don't want that one there, I'll just take that one out. So that's what I've done. I've pressed Control R, set one at the top of the windscreen. I've set one on the top of the hood or bonnet. I've set another one. This one here is, what is that? Why did I put that one there? That is for the bottom of the windshield. This one is for the top of the headlight. This one is for the center of the headlight. Okay. The lines set here, that's from top view, so I'll explain that in a minute. This one is the top of the windshield. That is for the start of the boot. Okay, so they're the control points I've put in for the side view. So if we then go to 1, we'll see how that interprets. So what I've had to do is, as you see, it's not fitting side to side now, and I'll explain that in a minute. But what I've done is scaled it down in the front view to match the lines I put in the side view. So there's top of your windscreen, there's your top of your, that's the other point, that's the top of the rear, I think. This is the top of your headlight, that's almost on the centre, it's near enough in this instance. And I've also put a line here. Now I've done this image to highlight where the actual body line is sitting. I think that because the front is slightly wider than the back, so that line signifies the rear. Anyway, if we go into the rear view, as you can see, that line inside signifies the width of the car from the rear. I don't think on the blueprints for the front view that they're actually correct, and I'll show you why. So this is excuse me, this is the top view. As you can see now, I've scaled it in, and this has got perspective. So if you look here, if you follow the front, I line it up with the front because the front badge is absolutely fine. Then if you go to the back, you can see that the car veers a little bit to the left and it's not in line. Okay, so to get that that perspective, we know that this has got to come out a little bit. So I'm not using the top really for modelling, I'm using it more as a reference point. Okay, but it does show that the centre of the headlights more interested in the front from this view, and obviously the windshield, this is a toy car, so the windshield is slightly different. That line that I pointed out to earlier here, so if we look at the thing, was the hood. So where the hood joins the body. Okay. Now what I've noticed looking at the top view is that the fenders come out more on the toy than it's shown on the actual blueprint. But to me, when you look at the reference images, if I load up a reference image, bear with me a second while I do that. If you look at the reference images, the wings look more, the fenders look more pronounced on the real car than it does on the blueprint. So I will extend this, I'll keep that in mind when we're modelling, and extend this and make it look more like the if you notice that the distance between the centre of the tail light, the side light, the front side lights, to there. If you're looking at a real car, I'll see if I can find any better images. Some more front-on images. But you can see it's more, on the real car, it's more rounded. Let's see if I can find a good front view. There we go. So, as you can see on here, the seems to be wider there than it is on the actual blueprint. So what I'm going to do is to make it wider on here. I will use the top view to accomplish that. Okay, so this will give me some idea. So we want the distance of there to there, and I think the toy's a fair reflection of the car actually, in terms of the front aspect and the rear, and the relationship between the front and the rear. Just as a little side thing, whilst I was looking for some more images, actually, I was looking at some more images for the Jowetts, and I actually found, again, if you bear with me a second, I found another version of this car, but a coupe version. And again, I will be, here we go. So here it is a version, and it's a coupe version. Now look at that, look at the, apparently this is a one-off. It's Farina designed. Okay, so I'm looking at that, and I'll do a version of that after I've created the body for this. So I didn't know that they'd actually done a coupe version until this morning, so we'll be modelling that. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed the video. I will put the blueprints in the link in the description for you to use. This is what we find with modelling old cars, that good, accurate blueprints are very hard to find. So you have to use your artistic license in terms of modelling. Don't forget that your car, unless you're actually modelling it for business, if somebody's asked you to do this as a project and they want a perfect replica of a car, an original car, then don't forget that this is your model, and how it ends up is your interpretation of it. Okay, thank you very much. Thanks for watching. See you in the next episode. Bye.